Hallo. Y ahora vamos con la entrevista a Michael Mott, el gran ilustrador de Masters of the Universe, que está aquí en GRAYSKULL CON. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, why did you choose retouching pictures of Masters of the Universe?
Well, it all started because I love the franchise. Masters of the Universe is so awesome. It has everything in there. There's fantasy, there's science fiction, all the characters. There's so many possibilities to do those pictures. And I got to a point where I realized there's more opportunity in doing photomontages, cutting pieces from the pictures and putting them together with others, and creating new scenes by that are even bigger. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things, creating art like that. I also draw and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, retouching pictures. I create those because when I was a child, I had those toy catalogs with those dioramas in there, and those dioramas, they left a mark on me. They inspired me to do stuff later, and them and the Moto vintage artworks on the card bags, on the packaging, the boxes, also the posters. They are big inspiration to my work.
And the next question, since you only do picture of Moto, why not someday move to vintage?
Well, there's a very good reason for that. I have so few vintage figures. I still own almost every figure from when I was a child, but the selection of characters is so limited, so therefore it wouldn't offer much opportunities for a lot of scenes. And the other thing is the articulation points. Moto Classics has a lot more articulation, which allows me to create more it allows me to create more dynamic scenes. Also, the articulation points on the vintage are so limited. So basically, it would be possible to do those, of course, but it would add a lot more work to it. But maybe someday, sure.
Maybe one day. Okay, very good. And how many time do you spend retouching a picture?
That's a difficult question. Well, surely it depends on how complex a picture has to be. There are pictures I'll have to work a few minutes, taking the picture, setting the light, etc. Then there are artworks I created, big scenes with over 60 photos in there, and that takes a lot of time, of course.
Yes, I can imagine.
And another thing that makes me take more time is I'm very critical with every detail and take a lot of time looking, is that correct there? Is the joint retouched and stuff like that?
Yes, well, that's a perfectionist.
It has its, it can be troublesome.
Okay, and do you collect Moto Classics and vintage?
In a way, I'd say so. I still own every vintage figure, as I said, and I keep them. I don't give them away. There are so many memories connected to them, and my classics collection is pretty big. I own almost every character that's out there, except a few of the variants. There are some variants I don't really care for.
And which one are your favorites?
My favorite figures? Well, of course I have to start with Rattler, because Rattler was my very first figure ever, my very first action figure. Then there's Scareglow, love the action feature. Modulock, of course, Modulock with all the connecting joints. And Leech. So you see there's a trend in there, almost all of them are monsters. I love the monsters. And which new characters would you like to see in Moto Classics or in vintage? New characters as in completely new characters as figures?
Yes,
that
they
never
would
have
make.
figures.
Yes.
Well, anything that adds to the Snake Man, of course. I would love that. But if I had the choice, I would choose some kind of creature pack. Those little animalistic beasts in there. You know, from the artwork, the old vintage artwork from the 80s, like the little dinosaurs and the reptiles. I'd love to have some of those.
And with what group do you identify yourself? Snake Man, or Evil Warrior, or Derek Warriors, and why?
Identify, I'd say the heroes, of course. But the Snake Men have a very special place in my heart. As you might see back there. They're the next big picture I'm working on. I'm excited. I'm very excited. And next question. Sometimes you mix characters of the Donald sets with Moto Classic. Did you thought of mixing the DC with Moto Classics? Now they have made a comic and the characters have a body. Yes, totally. I really like crossovers, and as you said, I already did some, and I already actually own Motu classics like Superman, Batman,
wie die Leute es finden, wenn das läuft.
There's more
Das heißt, ich würde euch gerne etwas sehr komprimiert mittig
If the diamonds
zusammenzusetzen,
or
dann
the
sieht es auch
silver
schön
have
aus.
to return, would it be difficult making pictures on the wall or things?
I would figure something out. In space, I always use flight stands, and I already did some underwater scenes where it looks like characters can float in the water. Flight stands like this one. I'm setting the figure on top, and later I move it digitally, so there's only the figure staying there. It's pretty much the same as in flying figures. The biggest difference is figures that are supposed to be underwater is the lighting, because the lighting is so different. And I have to try to get a water tank, fish tank, and get figures into the water. Maybe it will add something. I have to see.
And would you like to put some costume in your pictures one day?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Into the next one, I already chose to put in snack a neck. I had to get these parts because the character is so different and we didn't get it. So of course you have to be in the picture. It also adds more drama because the characters that like each other have to fight each other and they have to, well, get over themselves.
Okay, and what do you think of the new vintage figures
I really like that they continue the line. I would love to see more characters we didn't get. There are some variants already. I don't really care much for the Filmation variants so far. Not too much into those. But they're well done on the design level.
now the last question, and what do you think of the better quality that is given to the saddle?
Yeah, getting bad quality figures always is a pain, and I myself didn't have too many problems with my figures. True Classic was different, and some of the joints may have been a bit loose, but in the end it works out. They can be placed in dioramas, they can be used to take photos with. Yeah, that's all that really matters to me in the end. Getting more figures, more characters.
So that was all. Would you like to say hi to the YouTube channel?
Sure. Hey everyone, this is Michael Muth from GRAYSKULL CON Germany in 2018. Saludo a the secrets of Orko and the Cueva del Terror. Bye.
Thank you.
Thema zumindest ansatzweise was dabei sein. Und ja, die größte Altlast von allen, also seit ungefähr 2004 schleppe ich diese Zodak-Geschichte mit mir rum. Die hat nie in ein größeres Skript reingepackt.
Vamos a entrevistar aquí a Matthias Brink, el coordinador y el creador de GRAYSKULL CON. Aquí lo tenemos con Shawnee.
Okay, the first question. Why do you celebrate this convention?
It's quite a long story. I'll be very brief. In 1998-9, around, the first He-Man page, He-Man.de, was started, and lots of fans met basically on the internet there, forums, chat rooms, and they said, oh, we want to meet in person, we want to be face to face one day. And so one guy said, you know what, I can actually rent a house and we can meet there. And so in 2001, 25 people met for the first time, and they said, well, what should we call this fan gathering? We're all coming together, what would be a good name? And they said, okay, what's the one place in Eternia that everyone wants to get to and to get into? Well, where do they all want to be? Grayskull, of course, Castle Grayskull. So we'll call it Grayskull. And that's when it started, as a complete pure fan gathering, people meeting, celebrating a little, that's it. And then over the years, at some point it started to say, oh, why don't we try to invite voice actors or authors, people who worked on Masters of the Universe in the 80s or with the 2000 X line. And that's when it became a little bigger and basically the shape that it has today. 3 years ago, Carmen and I started organizing as main organizers. We still have a lot of help. And before that, it was several different groups and teams of people who always basically carried on, said, okay, I'll do it the next couple of years, until they said, okay, I need a break now, it's so much work. Because of course, we all do that for free, we don't earn money with that. It's just really for the fans, by other fans, and that's how it works. Yes, and so we do that to celebrate the fan community, the fan base in Germany, and of course He-Man, She-Ra, the Masters of the Universe, everything in one weekend.
Yeah, was very nice, very great. Did you spend a lot of time organizing all of this?
Yeah, it's basically the process. Yeah, you write all the stuff on the internet, to the adverts, you collect the mails, you answer all the mails, lots of people have questions, of course, you answer all that, you try to contact people who could come as guests. This year, for example, it's Alex Hawkey, author of the He-Man and She-Ra cartoon guide, co-author. 2 years ago we had Brian Dobson, 2000X Skeletor voice in English and stuff like that. We try that. We are in touch with lots of companies who do master stuff, so that we have something for the tombola, that we get prizes, or that we get some things to announce to give away to people. We search a nice location. Where can we do it? We calculate everything. Okay, how much do we need to pay for this? How much do we get from that? So that at the end we have the black zero. It's always the goal, that we don't have to pay for it as the organizers, but that we come out, okay, everything's fine, everything's paid for. And so this is quite a bit of work, but it stretches out over the year. It's not that we work a lot in one weekend and then it's done. It's a process continuously going on. Typically the last week before the convention is very hectic, because then lots of people remember, oh, it's Grayskull Con, I want to actually go there. And what does it cost? We announced that like 20 times. So that is where you really have to put a lot of work in, and setting up everything here and transporting it here and stuff, and getting all that stuff done. But in the end, it's all worth it when you see how great the con
and if it's
works.
something you like.
Yes, and how much fun people have. I mean, I walk around here, or I run around here, whatever, but I see lots of smiling people, lots of people really happy, are having a good time. I say, okay, that's what we want.
And how is the reaction of the people? What do they think of this convention?
So far we've had very, very positive feedback. This year, last year, 2 years ago, just like half an hour ago, a guy came to me, I'm just here for this one day, but I've been planning that for 7 months, and I told my wife, don't plan anything there. And a couple of weeks ago she came, oh, it's the birthday of so. I said, no, I am going to this is the one day in the year that I want to be there for myself and go there. So he did. and said, yeah, he's so happy to be here, and just wanted to let me know. Now that I see you, it's such a great convention with the toy room, all these exhibitions, and the flea market, and tombola, and the program, and everything, and everyone is so nice, and it's so great, and the house is wonderful to be here. So, and yeah, this is really what we get pretty much from everyone. And it's really the fine thing is it's people. You know, if you know people, then of course they feel perhaps, oh yeah, I should say something nice. These are people that I really don't have any contact with at all. They don't have to come and say something. They could just be around and then leave again, but they take the time, come to you and tell you, oh, I'm having so much fun and thank you for doing this, it's so great. And this is of course, yeah, wonderful. And that's one of the reasons why we keep doing it.
Yeah, it's very great. So, and the next question, what do you collect of masters?
So basically, if you have filmed the toy exhibition, then you've filmed a huge part of my collection. The vintage loose toys up there are all mine. The commemorative line is all mine. The classics loose up there and the packed ones all mine. And some of the She-Ra vintage figures I have the Dorps figures, some Funko Pops, the Mega Constructs, the DVDs, the books, comics. I have all the mini comics. I have all the German language comics back from the 80s. I have the DC comics that came out recently, the Image with Val Staples and Emiliano, those 2000X comics. Basically, at the moment, the one thing I don't collect, is probably easier to say, is the reaction toy line. This is the only one where I say, okay, it's just not for me. I love the artwork and the cards, I love the graphics, but I don't like the figures. And so that's the only thing. But I will also have the Neo Vintage figures from Super 7. I have the Epic Battle 2-packs and stuff. The Los Amos figure. And of course I keep collecting classics. I'll buy Snake Mountain as soon as it comes out in a month, hopefully.
So almost everything.
So yeah, pretty much, and quite a few statues too, yes. So I need a bigger flat house.
Okay, and which one do you prefer, vintage or multi-classics?
Vintage is the very much nostalgic thing. But classics is so posable and movable and stuff, so it's difficult. I say, okay, I think that the classics are in a sense, better figures. You can do more with them even, but the vintage, of course, has this feeling of, oh yeah, twists, power punch, well, yes, I did that as a child, and so there are all the action features that they can't include now with the classics line. Still great, so this is the reason why I still have both of these. I sold my 2000X figures, and someone, that's the second thing I don't collect actually, 2000X figures. I don't want them. But the other two lines are very, very similar and very close to my heart.
Yes. It has many memories, with the vintage and everything. So, and with what group of heroes do you identify yourself, and why? The Snake Men, the Orb, the Evil Warriors, or
Evil Warriors.
Yes.
Evil Warriors always. I've always been a huge Skeletor fan.
Yes.
And and I like the designs and the figures of a lot of his henchmen. Scareglow, that was my first online nickname that I used. So I loved Scareglow. I mean Scareglow. A glowing skeleton with a cape. But so it's the Evil Warriors and Skeletor among the villains. I left Filmation for actually making Skeletor more powerful than Hordak, which the comics didn't do all the time. I left Filmation for that. Yes, Skeletor, beat his ass. This was just the figure for me. And this was one of the first figures I saw on the shelves in the toy store as a child, where I said, oh, I need to have that. And actually had He-Man first, Jitsu second, and then Skeletor was the third. A present from my aunt, and I was so happy. Yes, finally I have Skeletor, and then the world was a good place. Yeah, so I have to say.
Yes, just like him. And now, the last question. Do you already have plans for the next GRAYSKULL CON, and which ones?
First plan, yes, we'll have another one next year. This is clear and set in stone. We're at the moment working out the final details. If we can, I guess it will take a few days from this recording to actually the interview being published online. So it might be that we have already published the date of the convention by the time this comes out. We're working on the last details there. We want to have it in this house again because we're so happy with this place.
It's very nice.
And yeah, with space for everything, it's wonderful. And people here are very nice too. I mean, if you have a great house, but the people running it don't cooperate, don't work with you, then it's of course a pain. But they are so nice and so helpful. So yeah, we want to have it here again. And last week I was at PowerCon in the States, and so I tried, of course, already talking to a few people who might be willing to come over as guests, and so that we have one or two international guests once again, doing panels as well and stuff. And I hear that perhaps some guys from Spain would be willing to visit us, which we would love to have. Carmen, the other organizer, is rather fluent in Spanish as well, so we can work with that. And so the other plan is to keep it basically in the style that we still have, that we already have here, where it's lots of fans having a good time, not so much the, let's try to sell a lot of stuff to people and things, but really feel Masters of the Universe, feel thrown back into childhood for a few days, have a good time, don't worry about anything, run around in costumes as just Men-at-Arms and Orko walking outside, do all these kinds of things, have fun. This is the spirit of this convention, and basically they keep up everything that worked fine, see where perhaps there was a chink in the system where something was not perfect, and try to get that even better. And yeah, those are the concrete plans. More than that, of course, at this stage, there is nothing more to say. We still try to get through this one, and then we'll focus on the next one. But it will definitely happen next year.
We're already looking forward to it, and we also see that every year the convention is getting bigger and better, and we would like to thank you for your efforts and for doing this.
Thank you for taking the time to come and visit. It's always great to have fans from abroad here. We've had people from France, from the Netherlands, from Czech Republic ones, from England, of course, guests as well. We had a few American fans over already, saying it's always great to have that, and it's always great to see how preferences were in other countries, what little differences there might have been with comics that were only available, for example, there and not someplace else. For us it's the audio cassettes, these tapes that no one else had, that are very unique and that people always ask about when they meet Germans for the first time. So, you have these special things there. We hope to keep the celebration going with as many fans as possible.
Okay, great. And one thing, would you like to say hi to the YouTube channel and the Secrets of Orko and Acuerdo del Toro?
So this is the saludo al canal The Secrets of Orko y a la Cueva del Terror.
Okay.
That's the best Spanish I can do.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay.